In this episode, I am joined by Lawrence Whitaker as he talks through updates that we can expect in 2024 and 25. And I share your comments from episode 60 and suggest that we might need a new skill in Mythras. Welcome to the Mythras Matters podcast, season 1, episode 61. Time to tease you with forthcoming publications. Hello and welcome to Mythras Matters, a podcast dedicated to the Mythras rule set and all its supplements. As always, I am your host, Inwils, and welcome to September. Yes, I've survived another summer and I'm looking forward to enjoying the burr months, September, October, you get the idea. Saying that, I think the first week of September is going to be quite warm here in the UK, so all the kids will be going back to school with their winter clothes on in 20 plus degrees of sunshine. That's degrees Celsius. I have to say a huge thanks to everyone who is making comments on each episode on YouTube. Not only does it really help me as a content creator, it also is letting me chat to you all and hear your excellent ideas. I'm going to probably butcher the following names, but I wanted to share some of the feedback from your thoughts about magic and the essential skills from episode 60. So first up, some great ideas about using magic from, now this name has a lot of the vowels missing out, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Harrison with it. You can have a look at YouTube and see what the actual name is. But thank you to them who provided a possible source for my pulling magic from the life sources. And also Heath the Emissary 3824, who shared how they deal with magic in their campaigns. There were also some great ideas about essential skills from Calarandia, who talked about perception, influence and insight. And Brian also voted for the social skills. One aspect I like about Mythras is the way that the social skills work, including the social conflict rules that were published in the Mythras Companion. Coupled with the extended conflict pull from M-Space, conversations in Mythras can be role-played out with so much depth that they can actually appear to be the same as several rounds of combat. When I was looking into social skills, I realized that Mythras doesn't seem to have an intimidation skill. Is that right, or have I somehow missed it? It could be covered, of course, under the influence skill, although I never want to make the same skill be suitable for many situations. Regarding influence, we have actually created a new professional skill called spirit negotiation rather than defaulting to the influence skills. We didn't want to have every animist to be great at influencing just because they often talk to spirits. Currently, influence is a double charisma skill, so I'm assuming intimidation could revert to strength and size. I can imagine huge, muscly characters being very intimidating, although they would probably also have their nice cuddly sides as well. So, do you use intimidation in your games at all, or do you just default to influence? It would be great to hear from you, so do let me know your thoughts in the comments on YouTube. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to listen to the podcast on YouTube to comment. Listen to this episode on your favorite platform, but then head over to YouTube to add your comments. I'll put a link to the site in the show notes. Okay, it's time for some teasing now, as I pass over to Lawrence to let you know what excellent publications we can expect in 2024 and 25. I'm joined today by Lawrence Whitaker, or Loz on the internet, and we are going to talk about some updates for the forthcoming year. He's going to tease us and tantalize us with exciting things. So what's the first biggie that's coming our way, Loz?
First biggie. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about are products that are coming up this year, things that we intend, come hell or high water, to fulfill in 2024. I'll then talk about some things that are coming up for next year. They're on the roadmap. We hope that they're going to get out for next year. And then a few other miscellaneous things as well, because just updates on what Design Mechanism is doing, part of our approach and strategy and so forth. So let's get into the good stuff, which is the products imminent. Now, this is kind of in order of release. We've got three big titles. One is bigger than the others, but they're, in my mind, big titles. So the first one that we should have out of the door released next month. I have all the proofs ready. It's just a question of me doing the timing and pressing release. Is Rogues, Rascals, and Rapscallions, which is a source for Lyonesse. This is, to my mind, one of the funniest books that we've produced. Potentially one of the nastiest in terms of evil GM stuff. But it's also a really, really fun read that you don't just have to use for Lyonesse. You can take this book. There's so many ideas, and you can drop it into a classic fantasy campaign, a Mythic Constantinople, Mythic Britain, whatever you want. There's such a wealth of information in there. It focuses on bad things, situations, and people. So it's got some criminals, it's got some creatures and monsters, it's got some creepy events, it's got some pretty vicious cults, some downright weird brotherhoods and societies. There are a lot of parallels with some things that have been going on in the real world as well. So there's a lot of juicy information in there. What is good about it is there are lots of random charts, which is always good for Lyonesse. So if you're strapped for ideas, you can generate a scenario on the fly using the information that's given in this book. There's lots of things like meal generators, crime generators, random bad guy generators, and just loads and loads and loads of campaign ideas. We had a LozCon about 3 or 4 weeks ago, where my playtesters, Pete and others, came over, and I ran a Lyonesse campaign using Rogues, Rapscallions, and so on, mixed with a scenario that I am writing for Lyonesse, and we had an absolute blast. It was just
sounds it,
So that one is coming up. That will be in September. That's just about
So this month, when this episode comes
out, now I won't say when in September. It's probably going to be middle to the end of it, but it will be September.
That's good. We'll keep an eye out for that.
All ready to go. So the next one, and this is probably the big one, is the Unearthed Companion for Classic Fantasy. We've been waiting a long, long time for this. I will offer an apology to all the classic fantasy fans out there that have been teased this or have asked about it. It's taken a long time to do it. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The first is that classic fantasy is a really complex rule set. And as it was written, and as Rod Leary, its developer, has worked on it, he's developed new ideas. He's wanted to do new things with it. But of course, we want to keep everything compatible with the core rules. So that spent sort of a lot of work on working out how things should work. What changes can we make? What do we want to make? How do we want to expand it? What errata do we need to include in it? So it's been a long journey. We also released Classic Fantasy Imperative. We want Unearthed Companion to be compatible with that. So we've had to do a little bit of rejigging. But it's turned into a much, much bigger book than we thought it would do. This is about 300 pages, and it covers more rules, more treasure. There are some errata updates to some of the various multi-classes. There's new monsters, new spells, and so forth. There's more of everything. And what this book is designed to do is to give you ranks 4 and 5 on max for playing this game. So you can take this up to your higher ranked characters. That is the aim of it. So the monsters are more powerful. The magic items more magical. The treasures more noteworthy. And then all the information that's needed to support that. So it has been a long work in progress. Rod's had some personal challenges as well in his real life. That happens to everybody. It caused a delay. You know, he got hit by COVID very badly. So it has taken a long time to do it, but it is here. It is currently, as I speak, with our proofreader. We have an external proofreader and indexer. She's going through, she's doing the final proof checks. They will be sent back to us. We will go through and make those checks. Then we've got to cross-reference it. So the release date for this book is November/December. Could be November, will be December. We will get this out this year. It will be worth the wait, I can assure you. It is almost full color in its illustration. We've been teasing some images on Facebook, in the newsletter. There will be more teased as well as we get closer. Sophia Connor and all the artists, Julio, James Turpin, and so forth, they've done a fantastic job. It looks wonderful. And I think that people will find it has been worth the wait.
Can't wait. And in time for Christmas as well.
Yes.
So,
She'll be on everybody's Christmas list. Santa is going to be absolutely, but he's going to need a second or third sleigh to carry all the Classic Fantasy orders. Yeah.
I must admit, and from starting Classic Fantasy Imperative with my gaming group, they just love that rule set so much that we've put it into our regular cycle. So we're really looking forward to that as well. I know there's plenty of people on the Discord and roundabout really getting hyped up for it. So really looking forward to that.
Just like Rogues, Rascals and Rapscallions. The Unearthed Companion can be used by GMs for any kind of Mythras background. You don't have to limit it to classic fantasy. There are monsters in there that will be great in any kind of fantasy campaign. Treasures that will be great to throw into any kind. It doesn't have to be limited just to classic fantasy. If you're a fan of our games, buy it, use it. There's a wealth of material in there that will inspire you and enrich your games in some way.
And I think that's one of the really positive and excellent things about the design mechanisms, all their supplements. You know, you can use them across games and campaigns. And even when I'm playing something like Destined, I sort of like think, oh, there's that monster in, so that I can bring it into that campaign. So brilliant. So that's two fantastic updates by the end of the year. Did you say there's a third one?
But wait, there's more. So the third one, and this should be out October, November. This is a mini campaign. It's for Fioricita, our kind of mythic Renaissance Italy.
Alex Green was.
It's Alex Green's Scandalous Liaisons. And this is an adventure that is based in, obviously, Fioricita. It sees the characters take on the stewardship or ownership of for want of a better word, a health spa. It's not really a health spa. It's it's a villa that has a magical water fountain, which, of course, is going to encourage a lot of interest from the great, the powerful, the scandalous.
Most definitely,
It really is about how the characters manage this as a resource, deal with the political intrigue that arises from it, and get to grips with interest from other parties. There is an underlying plot which involves some of the magic. No spoilers.
Yeah.
But it is a campaign that will give multiple sessions of play, probably 5 to 6 or possibly more. So it is really a mini campaign that you can
Yeah,
run.
that's
And it has Alex Green's typical ingenuity, cinematic scope, and love for all things romantic. So
oh,
it's
fantastic.
good fun campaign. And again, it's the a lot of changes were made from the original inception to the final thing, but it's been worth the wait. So I'm glad that we've now got some support for Fiora Cheetah. And actually,
Yeah.
that's something I'll just mention here quickly. Somebody said, I think either on Discord or one of the forums, why don't we see more support for the existing things, rather than releasing new setting books?
Mm.
We completely agree. Our focus over the past 2 years has been to encourage support for our existing lines rather than producing a new thing that goes on. So everything that I am talking about, with a couple of exceptions, really are support for our existing lines.
Yeah.
So it's all about the support now. We've got more than enough campaign books and settings. We're focusing on supporting how those.
Brilliant. Yeah. And Alex Green actually was on one of the first ever episodes of Mythras. Yeah, it was episode 3 back in July 2019, would you believe, that he came on and talked about Fiora Cheetah. So if you're interested in that, then go back right way back to episode 3.
You've come so far.
Yeah, I think we're up to episode 61 now.
Yeah,
which I can't wait till we get to 100. That's my next.
We have to do something really special for that, Ian. We'll work something out.
That'd be brilliant. Yeah. Oh, well, that is packed full up to the end of the year, Lawrence.
Up to the end of the year. So for 2025, now I can't give any release dates for these because we just don't have them. We don't know when they will drop or in what order. But these are all books that we have completed manuscripts for. They have either been edited, are being edited, or will be edited shortly, but they are in the 2025 pipeline. We have 4 things. I don't think I'm missing any. The first one is a scenario for Destined, the superhero game. It's called All Cats Are Grey. And I actually need to go and refresh my memory over what it involves. It's been a while since I looked at it.
Yeah.
But that has completed editing by Brian Pivick. So that will be entering the production pipeline for layout, artwork assignment, and so forth, probably early next year. The second thing that I'll talk about, we got 2 Mythic books coming up. The first Mythic is Mythic Venice, which has been written by Paul McIntosh, who wrote Casting the Runes.
Yes, Casting the Runes.
I'm going to talk about that as well. Mythic Venice is, as it suggests, it is a Mithrasization of Venice mid 15th century. So the height of the Genoan traders. It is contemporaneous with Mythic Constantinople. So Mythic Venice and Mythic Constantinople can very easily be used together and cross-pollinate, or you can use Mythic Venice on its own. So it's very heavy on intrigue. It's very heavy on trading relationships. It's very heavy on the romance of that whole Italian rise to power. And it's going to be a very, very good book. So that has completed editing and will be entering the layout, design, and artwork stage probably in January of next year.
Fantastic.
So the next Mythic book is Mythic Britain, Armorica. This is one that I'm really looking forward to, just because of my love for Mythic Britain. Mythic Britain, Armorica takes us offshore from Britain into France, effectively. This is a look at the old Roman Gaulish Empire of the 5th century. This is Braceliand. This is Benica. These are the Goths, the Visigoths, the Franks, the Vandals. It's a detailed supplement that goes through what that area of France, chiefly Brittany and Normandy, as it will become, look like. Its power players, its struggles. It's written by Mark Shirley, and Mark is a genius at condensing a heck of a lot of very, very playable information into a short space. So there's a great amount of details, a very, very detailed timeline of Armorica as a region on its own. There's a rundown of all the key heroes there. We introduce probably some NPCs that Mythic Britain fans will have been waiting for. So Lancelot, Galahad, Bors, they all originate from the French romance side of the Arthurian saga. These are now in the kind of the grim and gritty Mythic Britain mold. So they appear in this book. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
That's both. They sound absolutely wonderful. And with who's written the Destined adventure?
The Destined one.
I'll find. I was interested because
let's update this in the comments. I think because
I'll do that.
Yeah, his name's on the tip of my tongue.
I think it goes back to what you were saying, because we've had Power Outage come out, which is an adventure for Destin, and we're having another adventure. Then we get in these additional supplements that feed into and extend what's already available, but can be played by themselves. So I think that really sort of like correlates to what you were saying before, and responding to what people are asking, expanding what we've got at the moment.
And I guess the exception to that rule really is Mythic Venice, because it's a setting book on its own. However, there's a lot of information there that is going to be very useful to Fiora Cheetah GMs, probably Book of Schemes GMs. There's a wealth of things that you can take from Mythic Venice and use in Book of Schemes and vice versa. So it's supportive of those two books. And of course, Mythic Constantinople. We very deliberately targeted to act as kind of a support for Mythic Constantinople, given that the Venetians are very active in Constantinople at that time. So it's I don't view it as being yet another Mythic book. This is a very supportive one. It's got a dual, triple role, even if you want to look at it.
And I totally forgotten about Book of Schemes, which is a fantastic document, adventure, supplement, whatever. And then, of course,
do you know what? I think Dan won't mind me saying this, because I've said it to him as well, and he said it to me. It's been one of the toughest books that we had to produce. We had a lot of issues, technical issues with the layout of the book. For some reason, something got corrupted. We tried to fix it. That deepened the corruption. In the end, we crashed it and we started again. And that's why it took so long to put together. But what I will say is the reception that it's had has been absolutely phenomenal. Dan did a terrific job. He's a great writer. He knows the Mythras rules very, very well. And his approach to the subject matter was outstanding. And it's been a really, really good seller. So I am really pleased that it's out. It fits in with, it just fits in with our Mythras line anyway. And it's good to have some support.
He actually came and GM'd for us, for the group at the beginning, and that was so good. And I have to say, only from him GMing for us, we introduced Reach into our game, because we never played it normally.
Never used the Reach rules.
But he quite naturally brought it in, because he's so good. And we just said, right, okay, we're doing this now. But that was a fantastic, I think it was like 4 sessions that we had with Dan, but absolutely brilliant. So excellent. What else for 2025 then?
Okay, so one more. And again, it's a new thing rather than being supportive. However, I still see it as being kind of supportive and already part of the product line, and that is Casting the Runes Mythras version. So Paul St. John McIntosh wrote casting the runes using the
Ah,
gumshoe system. And we published that, and it's been successful. But he always wanted to do a Mythras version as well, and so he
right.
has. So, Casting the Runes Mythras is going to be coming up. It is very much the same content, reformatted, expanded in some areas,
Yeah.
but more or less the same, but it is put together with Mythras character generation, ways of using Mythras rules to handle things like instability, magic, which again is very much in the M.R. Jamesian mold. It's very
Yeah.
ritualistic, very steeped in religion and law. So it feels different. And it's good for us to actually have a horror supplement in the Mythras line. We have
Yes.
science fiction, we have historical fantasy, we've got high fantasy, and now we have a horror book. And it's very different to the other big horror
Mm.
role-playing game out there for BRPL, Call of
Yeah.
Cthulhu. It's not Call of Cthulhu. It's very different.
Yeah.
It's M.R. James, very different approach, Edwardian setting rather than a 1920s setting. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it will
I,
be a
I,
great addition to the line.
I feel the players wanting a new campaign coming on board pretty soon, if that, because we've already looked at casting the runes in any case and thought, oh, this is a possibility. But, when it's been Mythrast,
Yes.
I think it'll definitely be. And I think isn't there an adventure already out for casting the runes?
There is, yes. There's it's called the Predestination Engine and other
Yeah,
adventures. And
yeah,
it is, because it is for Gumshoe, it's virtually statless, which means you can
yeah,
use it for anything, whether it's Call of Cthulhu or casting the runes or whatever you want. You
yeah.
take your preferred horror rule set. And I used that as a mini campaign for the playtest of casting the runes Mythras.
Yeah,
So it's been put through its paces.
fantastic.
Works great. Few changes in character creation, some new skills added, some new concepts added, refinements of other concepts. We've made it fit the rules,
Yeah,
but it does work very, very well indeed.
sounds absolutely perfect. Well, it's going to be another busy year in 2025, I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
and some of these will slip. Real life
Yes.
always intervenes. There are some other projects that will probably come along that we think actually we need to move this in, so we'll have to park this project for a while.
Mm,
We don't know what's going to happen. And for 2026, well, we're going to take 2025 to start commissioning some new manuscripts. We will be going out to people and saying, hey, we want to support this line. Here's a brief.
nice. Yeah,
How about writing for that? I want to see Luther Arkwright get some more love. I want to see Fenler get some more love. I'm writing as I said, a Leoness scenario.
yeah,
That will come out 2025. But again, I won't offer any guarantees on this. So we'll have another update, and
yeah.
hopefully I can give more on what we'll have in the pipeline.
There's definitely loads coming up, both before Christmas and after Christmas. And like you say, there'll be some slippage, but that's to be expected. So
There always is. It would be great to say under promise and over deliver, but in publishing,
yeah,
so many things just make that an impossibility, and they will
impossibility.
curse you. If we say,
Yeah,
"Hey, this can be out on this date," you can bet that'll be the one where all the files corrupt.
yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah. So that sounds some wonderful updates coming up. Anything else that you would like to talk about today?
Yeah, a couple of things I'd like to talk about. The first is to give a reminder to everybody out there that the 1st of September is the deadline for the Orc license competition. Now,
Yes.
you're probably reading this after or listening to this after the deadline, but I'm going to make the reminder anyway. But I will talk about the contest and what it's designed to do. So we wanted to give some visibility to Mythras Imperative and Classic Fantasy Imperative. Both very comprehensive rule sets. They're open license under Orc. People can do anything they like with them. We wanted to try and explore the creativity of that. Give people a brief, write a scenario or whatever you want, even a rule set that's no more X thousand words. Here are some assets to help focus what you do. You know, if you're creating a scenario, maybe you want to use these maps, maybe you want to use this artwork, maybe you want to use this paragraph of description as an impetus for something. We wanted to give a bit of focus to it rather than just say, hey, do stuff.
Do something.
Actually give something that you can string your submission around. So September is going to be taken up with us, hopefully going through all the submissions that we get. There'll obviously be some judging, but we need to take a good read through everything that's coming. And then we'll be looking to announce the winners in January, and then we will put the winning entry into production. And there are some runners-up prizes, which will be artwork and so forth. So that, I think, is going to be a really fun exercise that everybody on the TDM team is looking forward to.
Does the podcast get an exclusive here?
I would love to say yes, but we'll have to see how we're going.
Yeah, well, and I'm hoping that whoever wins, I'm really interested in getting them on the podcast as well and talking about their journey.
Oh, I'm sure we can arrange that. Yes,
you know,
assuming the winner to do so. Yes, I think that would be a wonderful thing.
I think that would be brilliant. So yeah. So what's the other thing that's coming up?
So the other thing I wanted to mention was really just about our marketing efforts over the past few months. We decided to make 2024 a more marketing. No, that's the wrong word. We decided to focus more on the way that we market our brand. We started by increasing the frequency of the newsletter. We've made it monthly now. We brought on Caitlin Walden to manage that. She's responsible for putting together the newsletter's content. You have a slot regularly. Doug Nordwell Raleal brings together what's happening on the Discord channel, then we have product product updates, previews, and so forth. So the newsletter is going great guns, and it's nice to have a regular rather than irregular release of it. And we hope to make that continue.
And Kat actually came on the podcast on the 1st of July, and I know from the comments on YouTube, people were saying, "How do I get onto this? How can I get the newsletter?" So that's really good as well. Absolutely. That's really bringing it up.
It's a good way of staying in touch and to get some exclusives as well. I mean, it is a marketing
very much so
primary purpose, but we don't want it just to be something to advertise what we're going to be doing. What we want to do is to give an idea of what's happening in the wider community. So that's why we include what's coming up in Mythras Matters, what's happening on Discord, what are different authors working on, what's their approach to things. So we want to sort of broaden that content, keep some staples in there, but really sort of widen it out. But the main thing is keep it a regular, consistent thing. So we tend to continue that going for the foreseeable future. The other thing to look out for are more reviews from people other than you, Ian, on YouTube. I've been in touch with various RPG influencers, channels that focus on different RPG content. We've invited them to say, "Hey, we have Mythras here. If you don't know about us, would you like to know more? Those that do know about us, perhaps we could have a feature." The first one out of the gate was the Blackgate YouTube channel. That was not deliberate at all, and they had an excellent review of Mythras on there, and I really appreciated the way that they approached that, because they focused on what makes Mythras mythic. How does that support role-playing efforts? It wasn't just a straightforward your character creations like this, combat, have special effects and so forth. It was really getting into how do you make a mythic game, and how does the system support it. So that was very, very nice to see, and it went down very, very well. There will be more of those to come. I'm going to be hosting either a streamed or a recorded play session. So I will be GMing a scenario for one of the YouTube channels. Can't remember who that is, but that will be organized in September. So look out for that one. Unfortunately, you'll have more of me on YouTube, which probably isn't a good thing, but it will happen.
You'll be fantastic.
That's right. Well, I hope so. And it may well be me running through one of Dan's combat training modules, because I find they're a very, very good way of introducing complete newcomers to the core elements of Mythras. Obviously, combat, because it's good fun. It's different to other combat systems, and you can really communicate a lot through it. So it'll likely be that, but we'll work out some details as we go. And the final thing really is we're trying to get more content onto both Facebook and Instagram. Doug Nordwell manages all of that for us. He's come on as kind of the marketing guru. So Doug is putting together fortnightly Facebook blasts, things that we hope will engage the community, like here's something that's coming up. How would you approach it? Here's some questions. Here are some tidbits. What's your favorite monster? This sort of thing, and that is, it's encouraging a little bit of debate. It's encouraging a little bit of community interaction, and we're going to continue that as well. So the marketing efforts that we've been making are modest, but they're having an impact. They're enjoyable to do, and I hope that they help raise the design mechanism and Mythras's profile as a result of that. I think Mythras is a game,
go for it.
A game that grows with the playing. That's and I think that's how it's managed to build its reputation. It's not been built around marketing hype. It wasn't built around a big lavish Kickstarter. It's we didn't go out with full color, full plate artwork. It's always been a very modest sort of approach. And it has had to find its audience and build its reputation through the fact that it's solid, flexible, dependable, consistent, and has a certain elegance to it. And I think that has found and maintained the audience. Still now, I mean, it's over 10 years old. So
it's fantastic.
I think that's a testament.
Brilliant. Well, it's been excellent talking to you, Lawrence, as always. I'm now totally looking forward to the rest of this year and next year with all these fantastic publications coming along. So thank you so much.
Me too, Ian. Thank you very much for having me on. Always a pleasure to talk with you, and I'm looking forward to the next series of updates.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lawrence, for taking the time to provide us with that update. I am definitely looking forward to all those publications, but let me know in the comments on YouTube what you are saving your money up to buy. It would be excellent to hear from you. And that's it. Another episode of Mythras Matters completed. Don't forget you can check out all my content by following me on my YouTube channel and supporting me on my Ko-fi page, where you can find my cheap adventures and encounters for download. I really appreciate your support, and do check out the Discord and the Tapper Talk forums. There are great people there sharing their ideas within the discussions. So until next time, have a great month of gaming, and I will chat to you all again in October. Until then, I hope all your opposed rolls succeed and provide you with a well-deserved special. Thanks for listening, everyone. See ya. Bye. The content of this podcast is covered by the Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, so please give appropriate credit if you are sharing or copying any part of this podcast. Thank you.